All right. All right. Well, hello world.
Hi.
Welcome to Uncaught
Hey.
Exceptions Girls Night. This is our first episode in the series with my co-hosts Daisy and Val. So yeah, we're just gonna dive into it, I think, ladies. So why are we here?
Well, I mean, we basically have these talks like all the time, but we never get to like actually record them. So I think it would be useful for other people to kind of have these insights as well. Maybe they can relate to some stuff. Maybe they can learn something new. So it's gonna be fun.
Yes. And yeah, Daisy. So I think I don't know what we're gonna talk about first. Are we talking about? Are we gonna get into the technologies that like affect young women? I don't know. There's no.
Well, I mean, since the topic is, or like the main topic of this podcast, which is going to be about like women everything, but mostly women in tech and just how all of that just like interacts with each other. We can probably start with like the main thing, which is like the experience of being a woman in tech. So I guess we can all kind of like share our experiences so far, whether that's at school or at work or in TikTok, because in like being a woman in tech on TikTok is especially very interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, and I think being a woman online in general,
Yeah.
just people like men, for some reason, they just like attacking you or leaving you hate comments just because you're a woman. And it's interesting to see that the same behavior that you see offline, it's reflected online as well.
they're
Mm-hmm.
so brave too, you know.
Yeah.
It's like
The
the screen
audacity.
gives them like superpowers to like say these like obnoxious things and like think they can get away with it. But you know,
Yeah.
women like us, we're not gonna let that slide, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, one factor is definitely like anonymity. Like, if you click on these people's profiles, it's
Yeah.
usually like some kind of like meme or, and then
Mhm.
user zero something or something like pee pee poo poo 69. Like, like,
For
Exactly. It's
real.
it's
Like
always the one
actually,
without the profile picture.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
right. Like we've definitely had to like come into each other's like comment sections to like defend each other because like it's like there's just a group of like toxic alpha males on
Alpha.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, that
It's not
like
very
just
alpha of them.
yeah, so alpha of them, right?
Yeah, it's so funny because like the people who claim to be alpha males are the ones that get like the most triggered by women just doing like living their lives basically, like
Literally.
Mhm.
and and it's not like an attack towards man. It's obviously like we don't hate man, we love man, I'm attracted to man, it's like
We love men.
we
We
love
love
man.
men.
Man,
Let's get
yes.
that straight.
Let's get that straight.
That's true.
But
That's true.
and like the man that are at worth of that, some of that loving are the ones who are not getting offended when we say or when we speak about like women's issues or things like that. Like it's the ones that know that they like do it and that they're kind of like pestering women all the time that get like the most offensive about it.
This is
Yeah, that's
true.
true. I feel like out of us three, I don't know if I'm right or I might just be like too focused here, but Val, I feel like you get like probably pretty bad hate comments that I've seen. Like
Yeah.
which one tops your charts and compared to like hate comments or
She's had quite a few, man.
I
She's had to
always
come in her
like pop in
comment
her.
section many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think one of your recent videos, I saw a thread for like 77 comments
Yeah.
on like, and it was just one guy like going back and forth, like hating. Like that was insane. Like I've never seen somebody like attack just the girl trying to
Yeah.
make tech videos. Like what the heck?
Yeah, and that's not even like the worst one. So the worst that I hate that I got was like this wave of just like massive, just like all of these like alpha males, like they got together, like, and then they just, yeah, let's make that
That's
clear.
not very alpha.
They got together and then they just targeted this one video that I made specifically about women, why there's not a lot of women in tech, which we can get into later,
Mm.
actually. But initially, it started with Carmen Reversal. on TikTok making a video asking like, why are there so few women in tech? And then she showed this graph that showed that since like the 80s, you know, like there's been a decline, or at least like there's been either a decline or a significant disparity between like women and men like choosing to pursue computer science. So I made a video in response to that, just talking about like history and opinions mixed with facts in there. And then people got really mad about that. But then if you went into Carmen's video, like it was like even worse. Like it hit like incel algorithm, or maybe you can mute that word. I don't know if like YouTube. Yeah. but all of her comments were just like people like attacking her intelligence, attacking her like, and she hadn't even like discussed like any facts or anything. Like she just asked a question, where are all the women in tech? And like she just got all of this wave, and I made another video in response to that wave of just like ridiculousness, kind of like poking fun of all of these pointless comments. And that's when people really got triggered. Like, yeah, because I was actively defending her and making fun of them. So yeah, it was, you know, direct attacks towards me and like my intelligence, and some people being like, I am going to share your account with all of my coworkers and we're all gonna make fun of you. And then thank you for the views. And then there was just like a bunch of like women like are, I don't know, a lot of people brought up like women and male brains, like they're different, and like women statistically or something, like I don't know, just like pseudoscience that says that women are just naturally not inclined to pursue STEM because they're neutering or whatever else you might have heard out there, you know. And like basically not backing it up with like actual research or research that has been proven to be skewed over and over again. So yeah, just a lot of that. And you know, but I think also like some personal ones, but I don't really remember that much. But the only personal one that I remember the most was probably that recent one that I replied to. And I wasn't even trying to start anything. Like I wasn't like replying to hate comments or anything. Like I had just made a video like talking about like saving up money in college, how like when it comes to computer science, like you don't necessarily have to go to like the best school and spend a lot of money. You can still, you know, go to like a state school or a community college and do fine. And then somebody like out of nowhere, like that wasn't even like a triggering video, like they were just like, you seem so pretentious, like how about you just
they took
like,
it personally.
Yeah. And it's like, what, dude, I just made a video about like, you know, not being pretentious. Like you can go to community college, you can go to state school. And then it wasn't even like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your entire page. Like you make your whole personality be like your degree. You need to like stop hyping yourself up so much. And like, okay, like gosh. Literally I make my whole personality my degree because multiple people, like it's a tech community on TikTok. Like,
right.
Yeah, like
it's literally
they're low lives.
Exactly. Like they really have nothing going for themselves. Like we said, it's usually the people that have like literally nothing going on, that have nothing better to say, that have nothing to contribute to the conversation except for hate.
Yeah. So, and I don't know, he just like kept going and going. Like even though I like made a reply video, like, dude, you're like embarrassing yourself or whatever. Like he just kept going and going. Like I'm 19 and like I'm about to graduate and like I'm not, I don't know, like I don't even like hype myself so much. Like you're so young, like why are you hyping yourself? Like what's your problem with me? Like first of all, I'm not coming on TikTok to be like, I'm so hot and I'm perfect and I am the best and you suck. Like
you're not, Val.
Like I'm literally just like talking about tech things, whatever. So like I don't know why they take like that hurts them so much that I'm just talking about tech. So
why does
I don't
that
know,
bother them so much?
Yeah.
Like why does it bother you? Like who cares what I'm doing either way? Like you're so stuck on the fact that like, oh, I think I'm hot shit, but then like you're sitting here gatekeeping what people should do. Like it doesn't even make any sense to me. There's no like rhyme or reason with these people.
Yeah, and then he was like, good luck finding a job being so pretentious. And like this dude didn't even have a job. This dude was still in school, and like good luck finding a job with that attitude. Like nobody wants to work with an asshole. Yeah,
like we're all pretentious.
That's all of tech.
Like, let's be honest, we're all a little pretentious in tech. Like, let's be honest. I feel like the pretentious people have jobs, so
I think it's
my
more
gosh.
probable, yeah.
yeah.
But that's so sad when I see people like that just attacking like women in general or just women. Like, what is up with their anger against this whole gender? Like, how can you hate someone that you don't even know and you're assuming like their entire personality? Like, I don't know, poor kid. I never know how to respond to hate comments. I don't think I ever do respond to hate comments just because I don't know, you don't adding more negativity towards that negativity that they're leaving is just, it's not going to make it any better, I think. I don't know, how do you guys respond to like hate comments? Because I never actually do.
I usually clap back with a little like
Yeah.
spice,
You
a
clap
little bit of
back.
spice, and then like if I really want to keep it going, I'll just like keep asking them stupid questions and they'll keep answering.
Oh, make them look
Like,
dumb? Is that what you do? Is that your tactic?
that's what Val does. Val will keep them.
Yeah.
Val keeps them in the comments and she'll ask questions and like ask for like logical reasoning behind their analysis, and like they can't provide it.
Yeah.
So.
And I feel like for to an extent maybe that has worked for me, but at the same time I feel like it's a huge waste of time, so maybe I should just start trying to ignore them, which I have done recently. Like in my last couple of videos there was just somebody saying like something stupid. At that point I was just like but initially definitely I want to pick these people's brains. Like it just frustrates me to not understand like how can you think that way? Like, where do you get these ideas from? Like, are you actually using any kind of data that I don't know of, like to try and sustent your argument about women? Like, and it's so weird. Most of the time, I mean, I would say like pretty much all the time, if they're saying something specifically, like especially stupid, like they can't provide legitimate evidence.
Right.
Yeah.
I think so I kind of want to pivot into like things I've seen on TikTok as far as like young women being groomed. I know we talked about like certain tech that like that affect young women like OnlyFans. And this is a hot topic that I really want to get into now that we're like on the TikTok topic. Cause like I know Val, you agree, like little girls are being groomed on TikTok for OnlyFans or just in general, groomed in general. And it's like, is this tech? Like, are we happy that there's an outlet for women to make money safely? Or are we upset that this is a platform that incentivizes young girls to be, open?
Yeah, well, I mean, it definitely has its pros and cons. Like, OnlyFans as a platform is really cool because, women don't have to go out there and physically expose themselves to, a lot of danger. And they also don't have to rely on very dangerous contracts that they often like read very, like it's not their fault necessarily because they also manipulate in that side. Like, even if they read it, like, it they might get pressure into signing it or whatever, so they really do get to take control of their bodies with these platforms, which I find that on that side, like I really support OnlyFans and all of that. But at the same time there has to be some kind of discussion in regards to like the extent of like who this platform gets promoted to, and there have to be like boundaries. And even I think honestly like OnlyFans should be 21 and up. I don't think anybody under the age of 21 should be on OnlyFans, even though they're legal adults.
Or like what's the age guideline? 18 and then you can sign up.
Like for perfect example, guys, you guys know who Bad Baby is, right?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
She turned 18, and the minute she turned 18, went on OnlyFans, and she made millions. Just like the minute she went on, within minutes, she was like millions dollars in. And it's like,
heck?
Which
that's
that
disturbing
means,
a little bit.
Because she's been around since she was like 14, 15, which means like these dudes have been sexualizing and fetishizing this young girl since she was before 18 years old. And the minute she turned 18, like she, they had access to her. And it's like, like, what do you guys think about like having this much access to a technology like this for a young woman? Maybe she's not the best example because she's already in entertainment, like she probably was already okay with this. Not saying it's okay, but
yeah, actually, like in regards to Bad Baby, I remember like last year before she turned 18, she would already get a lot of comments like, can't wait until like she's 18, or like she's so hot, but like she's 17. Like, you know, like it would be people like counting down until the day that she turned 18 so they could sexualize her. But aside from her, you know, like she is a celebrity, so it can be a little bit different when it's just like a regular person. Regular people are still being groomed on TikTok because there's like a community, I guess, of like women who promote kind of like a sugar daddy lifestyle, which is fine for like if you're like a grown adult, you know, but if you're promoting that to teenagers, like I have a problem with that. Like I have a problem with you telling like you know, saying that sex work is empowering and all of these things to teenagers, or not painting like the downsides of it, because there can be many downsides to it. Like I 100% support sex workers, you know, I am all for women having control of their bodies, but so long as they're like people who have developed it, you know, like beyond their teenage years, like who are grown women. And I don't think like at 18, even though you're legally an adult, you can really call yourself a grown woman. Like you're still, I see an 18-year-old, you're still a baby. Like, and I don't want, you know, I don't want these 18-year-olds to be painted this fantasy that like, yes, like go get an OnlyFans, like show off your body and like everything's going to be fine. There's no downsides, because no, as a grown woman, you also consider the downsides. And like, if you go for it, it's because the upsides like were better than the downsides. It may be in your case, but like that's not what we're telling these 18-year-olds.
But why would go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, because I see where you're coming from, Val. Like they're marketing this product and making it look super good. You're gonna make millions, and you know you're in control here. But why would they start promoting like the negative side of it? You know, if they're trying to recruit people and teens, it looks like it's horrible. I'm not in favor of that at all. But you know, as like from a marketing perspective, I don't think they would be honest people and let them know, like, or be transparent. They wouldn't really be realistic, and they would just be promoting like all of the positivity of the platform. So I don't think they're gonna change. I guess that's what I'm saying. I don't think they're gonna, you know, start listing the pros and cons. They're just gonna tell you all the pros.
But what are the repercussions of not having access to a tech like this for an 18-year-old girl who doesn't see any like prospects in life, no future goals? She feels like sex work is her only work that she can make money off of. Like, for someone like that person, is the accessibility to this tech actually does better for them, or is it helping them like make sex work into actual work versus like, I don't know, because they can easily go out into the streets if they didn't have access to this tech and do it. So it's like, are we okay with it because it gives them a safe space to do it, or are we still, you know, I don't know how I feel about it, because either way it's bad.
Well, I mean, they're still going to have some kind of psychological damage regardless, and they should be informed in some way, even if it's, you know, you're right, Daisy, like the actual company. I mean, a lot of these companies, they just don't evaluate like the ethics of their technology, which is something that I feel like we should start doing from, you know, if we all like somehow manage to like come up with like our own companies in the future, then like I think we should really emphasize the ethics of what we're doing. And money is good, but like I personally don't want to put money over ethics, especially when it comes to like teenage girls. But anyway, so that's another thing. I would prefer, you know, like an 18-year-old to be in the safety of her room rather than to be outside exposing herself to physical danger. But at the same time, both of these scenarios are not good scenarios. Like there really is no good path anywhere here. Like both are going to cause some type of damage, whether it's physical or whether it's psychological.
So do you think it is a better option though than if they had no other option but to go on the streets and like find a pimp to like pimp her out, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think overall we should just collectively as a society make it a better option to not even get involved in that industry at all. I mean, unless that you're a grown woman, you know, unless that you're a grown woman, but I don't think it should be something that we put in an 18-year-old's head that like this is like a path that you should take. I was actually so I follow this adult actress on TikTok, and I actually asked her in one of her lives, like, is there like an ethical way to like what do you want as a sex worker? And she said that honestly, if she or any other girl made money, the same amount of money that they made in sex work, like anywhere else, that they would immediately drop it and just like go work in that industry.
I see.
Oh, okay. So she got into sex work because that was like her last resource, like that was the last thing on her mind, or
well,
the most money she could make, probably doing not much.
Yeah, initially she found it interesting, like she was actually into it, but there's so many just like it just gets to a point where like it's not, you realize that it's not going to be all just like roses, or you know, like it just has a lot of very negative things about it. And you know, I do believe that there's a percentage of women that feel very empowered by it, and 1,000% like will do it even if it was free. I mean, you know, like if money was not involved, like maybe they would still enjoy doing it. But I feel like that's really not the majority, that especially after talking to this like former adult actress, she just really made me see it that way. It comes,
you know, we should bring on one of these former adult actresses. Like I might ask some people that I know, and like it would be a good guest spot, I think.
Oh, actually, I would love to.
Do you think the one that you were talking about would be down? I don't know who you were talking to though. I think some of the people that I know would be down.
I mean, she's actually like a pretty big one. She's on TikTok. I don't know if she would be like willing to come. Maybe
can we discuss her name?
Can we? It's just that I don't know if we can or not. Like I don't know if she would feel comfortable with it. I can tell you after though, because she's pretty big. But yeah, I mean, I think that would be really cool because her videos on TikTok, like they all talk about kind of like the after effects of,
so she does, it is, that's her niche. That is something that she talks about. Okay.
Yes. Cool. Yeah, that is her niche.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay. I mean, I just feel like without a platform like this, like girls would have to find other ways to like make up for it. And that is where like it kind of bothers me that if there wasn't OnlyFans, there would be another way that they're trying to do this. And I feel like OnlyFans is probably the safest way they can do it without them having to expose themselves physically, like mentally in the streets and all that stuff that goes.
That is true. Well, I mean, I guess since OnlyFans itself is not going to be promoting the downsides, it is up to, you know, like other women to bring these issues to light. And really, you know, we can't fully like tell an 18-year-old like don't do that, like this is bad, you know, but like at least we can try to kind of like explain it so that they can evaluate that, because it can be very damaging in the long term.
Yeah, I agree.
So before OnlyFans, because I know you said, Krystal, like if we haven't had OnlyFans now, these girls would be out in the streets, you know, promoting themselves, getting a pimp. So before OnlyFans, what was the method in getting your? Is it OnlyFans like you promote your pictures on it, or like videos, or is it like a pornography website?
Whatever you want to put up there. So like,
okay, I'm not actually.
I can just post like pictures of my feet. And like you would
So
subscribe
it's whatever
to
you
it.
want.
It's whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's like it's literally whatever you want. It could be video.
Yeah.
You can also exchange, like people can send you money for them to like directly message you. Yeah.
So it's like a Patreon kind of, or like
it is.
No, it is. It's a Patreon for adults in adult entertainment. You know, but it
For
doesn't
adult
necessarily even have to be
entertainment.
adult entertainment.
Yeah.
Like we
Oh,
can
okay.
create an OnlyFans right now and sell our podcast on there if we want.
Yeah.
But you know, that's not we're not gonna
What
make
people
money.
use it for. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's niche. Yeah.
So it's just a platform, you know, but
Yeah.
it's just got known for that.
Yeah. I think before OnlyFans, they just went on like
Snapchat?
campsites or
Oh,
Snapchat. Yeah.
okay.
Snapchat was a big
Or
one.
they were just trying to become adult, you know, film
Yeah.
actors and
That
actresses. And a
too.
lot of those sketchy managers in that field like promise
Yeah.
these girls the world, and then they get
Yeah.
paid like nothing. They get paid like $100 a shoot.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
oof.
Oh,
Oh,
like Mia
wow.
Khalifa, like she was saying how she throughout her whole like
Mia
I think
Khalifa
3
would be
months
perfect for
like
this.
making I know she made like 20 videos or something, and like these videos obviously like became very popular, but she only made like $12,000 in
Yeah.
total
Yeah,
for all
exactly.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's bad.
Yeah.
And that's actually at a high range she was getting paid
Yeah.
because she was Mia Khalifa. Imagine a nobody that just turned 18 that
Yeah.
like just got a manager that like just want to get their foot in the door. They would do it for free, I'm sure. You know?
But what's interesting is I want to know like the psychology behind like these girls that go into the industry. Like
Well,
what
let's dig
makes
into that.
you go
Yeah,
into
let's
it?
dig into
Yeah.
that.
Like what like I mean obviously I'm not in the industry or like I wouldn't consider that just because I like what I do. I like working as like in tech, but why would a young girl want to go into that field?
I don't
what
know
is
if they
so enticing
want
about
to.
it besides the money?
Mhm.
I don't know if they want to. I think first of all, a lot of them probably have daddy issues and it's getting attention
Okay.
from men, right?
What
So
does
it's
that
getting
mean,
Yeah.
daddy issues?
daddy issues mean they just didn't have a dad around, so like any male approval.
Oh.
And like for them like male approval because they're women have been men just like coming after them, right? Like hating on them or like catcalling them or whatever. So I think a
Okay.
lot of it has to do with daddy issues where they want male approval. But yeah,
I mean, it can also be grooming, like as a teenager from like other men, not necessarily their fathers. It's just men that have like consistently like sexualized them in some way when they were minors, and that just kind of like became the norm for them.
yeah.
And it just became
Mm.
something like easy to jump to. And then, oh, there's like a lot of money involved, and oh, it's like really glamorized in social media. So like this is like you can only see upsides in that case.
Yeah, true. I mean, and the other thing is a lot of them probably don't, because of societal like gender norms and you know all the shit that's been like set in stone in our ingrained in our brain since we were young, that like there are gender roles and there aren't as many
Yeah.
opportunities for women.
Yeah.
It's like that's so not true, but I also have to realize I come from a coastal state in California. Like we're pretty progressive here, so it wasn't even an option for me to think like there aren't options for me. So I was
Mhm.
fortunate enough to like have that, but not everyone does, you know. So I
Mhm.
think the opportunity aspect is probably because they don't know how else they would make money. They don't have
Yeah.
any other skills, like they
Mhm.
haven't been like trained.
Yeah. Yeah, because it is pretty like it's not easy money in the sense that like you do have to put a lot of
Right.
work there, but it's like accessible money in the sense that
Right.
like you can do it with a camera or something, the internet, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what would you aside like I don't know about like Texas and Arizona, like are the opportunities like I assume in America it's probably pretty okay. But I know other states girls may not have as many opportunities or they are not pushed to do well in certain like subjects.
Opportunities here in Arizona, I think pretty good. I think we're not as progressive as California. I think we're more of a red state, but it just switched now because of the elections.
Okay.
But yeah, I think opportunities are good here. I think I've never been really rejected for being like a woman for a job or I mean extracurricular activities and stuff like that. I don't think so. Um, I mean, as far as I can tell, I've seen like internships that actually promote for like LGBTQ plus
Yeah, true.
or minorities and stuff. Like that's who they're targeting for. So not
Well,
much
then
of an
what do you
issue
think
here, I
it
think.
is? What's the psychology then? Like aside from daddy issues, like I don't know how else like I don't know if that's appealing to me to go into sex.
Right.
I mean, it really just like that former adult star said, like if they could make the exact same money doing anything else, they would.
The money's
So
the
I guess
motivation.
it's money is the
Mhm.
motivator. Yeah.
I guess that's for most.
Yeah.
I can't get upset
Yeah.
about that, but I
Yeah.
mean, there has to be better options, you know? There has
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah.
But imagine not having any options but that one option. And I think that's where most of this like arise, the problems is not having any other options but that. But how do you
Yeah.
even get to that decision is my question.
Well, I think it kind of goes back to what Val said. Like, that's the only thing you know. And if you were like assaulted, raped, or even
True.
harassed at a young age, your brain is already like messed up. I think you're already used to that. So it's not, what's one more guy that you sleep with, or what's one
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
person that you interact
Yeah.
with? That's nothing
Yeah,
to them.
it's definitely, I'm not saying all sex workers like have experienced trauma. Like obviously there's just some women who legitimately like they had a pretty like a good childhood or something and they just choose to do it. But
Mhm.
there is a significant amount of them that did have some kind of like traumatic experience while they were underage or even as children. So that can really, like alter your decisions later in the future.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, now that we're on the female psychology thing, I know we were not supposed to get into this topic for a while, but I kind of want to delve into the Elizabeth Holmes psychology on what the fuck happened there.
Oh
Because now
man.
that we're in female psychology, like, because that I'm gonna let Val lead on that one because she knows more about this case than I do.
Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know, Elizabeth Holmes, she is a known, I guess, finesser in this, not
Finesser?
Right? Best finesser of all time.
Yeah.
yeah. So, I think it's almost been like 20. Yeah, it's gonna be like almost 20 years since like the whole her company Theranos started. So she dropped out of Stanford, I believe, and then she started developing this company with the purpose of changing blood test. The how we take blood tests. So usually you go somewhere and get multiple little tubes of like your blood drawn to get multiple tests. But she claimed that she had found a way to be able to do a multitude of tests just from one drop of blood, which is insane. I mean, like that's revolutionary. So everybody was on board with that. She got a lot of support from a lot of very powerful people, powerful investors. I believe she had already partnered with Walgreens and they had already made an ad for her product when the product wasn't even finished. People would go and like try and test the product, but they would claim like, oh, it's under repair or something. And, they would just get their blood drawn like the normal way. So like she never actually like had a real functional product. It was all a scam. So she scammed all of these people, powerful men that have been investing for years. And it's just insane like how I guess the veil wasn't like removed until many, many years later. It
20
just took
something years. That's 20 years. That's insane to me.
actually no, I think it was like 10 years. I think she started
That is
getting
some
invested around
crazy
like
finessing.
2014. Yeah. And yeah, and the company was once valued, I'm not sure exactly how many billions of dollars, but now I mean obviously
She was a billionaire.
Is like was the like all those years of her finessing, right? And like scamming the public. Did being a female in a high level position like this at such a young age becoming a billionaire with this new innovative tech, did that have something to do with her keeping up the appearance that this was still a thing and like it at some point like took over and she thought it was real? Like did being a female in a high powered position have an effect on why she kept it up for so long?
Well, I think so. I think well, so the trend that she was following, anyone who goes to Stanford,
Mhm.
they have a higher probability of starting a successful startup just because we see the history. Like a 19-year-old drops out of Stanford and they like, you know, build this like unicorn company. And so I think Elizabeth Holmes was kind of selling on that because other people had done that before. They just dropped out of Stanford, like what's Mark Zuckerberg dropped out of Harvard, Bill Gates out of Stanford. I think he went to Stanford. I'm not really sure. I need to check on that. But I think she was just like selling this dream that we have seen multiple times, and plus she's white and she's a girl, so I think it was kind of cool to see a girl
Yeah.
in like the tech space, especially leading something.
Yeah.
We don't really see that besides like Whitney Wolf. I think she's
Yeah.
like one of like the prime CEOs right now in tech, and like Marissa Mayer, CEO of Yahoo, but she's not there anymore. So I think so. I think she was very good at like selling herself, and I don't
Yeah.
know. And she probably came from a background of privilege. I don't
Yeah.
know much of her story, but I'm kind of like
Ye-
speculating a
Do
little
you think
Yeah.
bit.
if she wasn't a female, she would have kept it up like this and it could have kept on for this long, or was just the pressure of being a female in power with in
I
a boys
yeah.
club kind of?
I actually think she had kind of like the halo effect going on. And I think like rather than selling a product, she was a product. Like I feel like people were I mean, obviously, like, you know, they had hopes for Edison and all of that, but they saw her before they saw the machine. Like they saw this woman in power who was achieving all of these great things, who could be the next like Steve Jobs, who even like kind of looked like Steve Jobs in the way that she kind of like
True.
you know, presented
Dude,
herself.
and her
And
voice.
yeah, yeah, people say, yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's another interesting thing to
Mhm.
analyze because people are saying that, like, I mean, it sounds like a fake deep voice, honestly, and people were
It
saying
is
that,
fake. I think
It
it
is
is fake.
fake.
yeah, yeah,
There's no way she sounds like that.
yeah, that
She
she read
totally fakes
somewhere
it.
that if you speak in a lower voice, people take you more seriously because, you know, sexism. So it's kind of like this weird thing where, like, yes, she may have had to like do certain things to be more palatable to the industry, and that comes from sexism. But at the same time, she kind of benefited from
Right.
being a woman in, you know, in a position of power. So it is kind of like an interesting case there, but
Yeah, and another thing that I want to add, I think the woman probably that kind of like sells a whole package, but I remember that she would sell her product to people who were not in the same field as her in the like biomedical space. She would go and like
mhm,
try to like pitch this to like military people, like people who had no idea of this testing and like what do you guys
yeah,
call it, phlebotomy and stuff like that.
mhm,
Like, so yeah, it's kind of easier to sell your product to people who have
yeah.
no idea.
Right. Right. Right.
Right. Right. And I mean, with the charm and charisma that she had, like she really could say whatever and people would like buy it up. And I mean, also like the halo effect, like she just seemed like trustworthy.
Hmm.
Um, but I honestly think that she was evil. And I think, you know, it's kind of, it comes to show that like, I think part of feminism is acknowledging that women can very much be evil. You know, like we have just the same capability of doing bad, evil things.
Okay, then let me pose this question. Then do you think she kept it going because she used the fact that she's a woman in a higher position to like keep it going as far as like she used it to her advantage, like she knowingly used it to her advantage, like the
Yeah.
halo effect you're saying? Do you
Yeah.
think she knowingly used it to her advantage, or do you think her being a female, she kind of didn't want to let other women down, you know, like which is it?
Oof. Okay. I don't know. I feel like maybe initially that was the goal to like not let other women down, and maybe she did experience like some some kind of discrimination there. I mean, I'm not sure, but the whole voice thing makes me think that she thought that she had to like adapt herself in some way to be taken more seriously, and the way that she dressed and all of that. But I think it came to a point that when she had enough power, like she no longer cared about anything else other than herself.
True. You're right. That's a good point. Because she wouldn't have done all that like voice stuff and like all that if she wasn't using it to her advantage, like to get ahead. So yeah, you're right. It's just I don't know how we got fooled for that many years though. Like she did such a good job. Like, is it because she's a white female? Like we just believed everything she said and just like ran with it? Like investors didn't even look into it?
I think that could play a part, but the other thing she would do is, in order to keep up her entire like company, she would run the test on other machines, or like she would like grab the blood samples, put it on a different machine, never use her Edison or whatever, and obviously the results would come back like good because it's a working machine. And so that's how she was able to like play. I was going to use the word finesse again, but finesse
is such a good word for this.
That's how she was able to like bamboozle these like investors.
Right. So, bamboozle's better than finesse.
Yeah, and everyone, you know, and what's interesting is that everyone, the workers of Theranos, is it Theranos, I think, right?
Yeah.
They all knew that it didn't work, and they just I guess they kept believing her that someday it would work. And I think it got to a point where she started sectioning off her employees and putting them against each other, like Steve Jobs style, like competing. I don't know if Steve Jobs actually did that, but she would kind of pick up a lot of Steve Jobs habits, and like even dress, like her appearance, her clothes. She would try to copy Steve Jobs and have meetings on the same days that Steve Jobs would have meetings. But she would basically put her employees against each other, and whoever would win like that project or like that deadline, the other losing team would get fired. And so everyone was so stressed and like pressure to make this work. And it's insane because her whole product, the selling point was that taking a blood of drop and you can run like 100+ tests on it, which means that they would have to like dilute that drop of blood, make it feasible for all of these tests, and then return instantly. It sounds like a fantasy, you know, like something you could like read from like a sci-fi book or something. So she never actually obtained her goal, by the way. So completely failed.
And I was telling Val last time, and it's like she had all of these years to innovate. Like,
because it's impossible. It's crazy.
Right, but she could have initially started off, and it could have just been an idea that she didn't even have the tech, right? But she could have made like tiny bits of effort towards the end goal. And like she didn't have to deliver the actual product. If she would have delivered even a tiny bit of what that tech was supposed to deliver, like even remotely worked on it, I think she would have been in the clear. But it's just I
think her idea, it's a great idea. I think it'd be awesome. What's that? Yeah, I think
for the time.
Exactly. I think it's great, but it's not.
Yeah,
I don't know. Feasible right now.
Yeah, I believe that I heard that she probably thought that she was going to do it, and like that's why, like, you know, she tried to keep the facade, because she thought like, okay, I need all of these resources, and in the meantime I'm going to tell them that it's ready, but it's eventually going to be ready, but they're just not going to know. And like, I guess she truly thought that she could do it, but then it came to a point where it all just like came down. Yeah.
What happened exactly that she got exposed? Like, was there like a catalyst event that happened, or?
I don't remember how she got exposed, but I think there was like reporters kind of like investigating her case or something. And then there was some employees that spoke out as well, like, and quit. Some employees quit and they said they couldn't do it because this is obviously crazy. She's crazy for thinking that she could do this. But I don't know how exactly it got revealed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that just comes to show that like we obviously do want more women in power and more women leaders, but we
Yeah,
have
but
to
not
be
like that.
really, yeah, but we have to, exactly, like we have to be really picky about like who we choose to support. Like we shouldn't be supporting like a woman in power just because she is a woman in power, you know, like we really need to know like
Yeah.
what she's doing. But I feel like you know, sometimes like in social media we get so caught up with like this just need for representation that we don't
Yeah,
just like sit
exactly.
back and analyze like, hey, is this person actually doing things for other women? Like is
Right.
she, you know, like treating her women workers right, or is she just kind of like this facade and
Yeah.
this
Mhm.
meaningless, you know, representation that isn't
Yeah.
really changing much?
Exactly. And I think you hit it right on the head when you said like, yeah, we want to be empowered and support all women that come across like our, day-to-day lives, but because there aren't many, like we just blindly support these women who are in power because there aren't that many of us, because we feel like we have to, and
Yeah.
again that just comes down to representation. Like we just need more of us out there in the world, so that
Yeah.
to avoid blindly just supporting any women in power. Okay, so let's get into the girl boss thing. Like, because I don't know too much about it, but I know Daisy wanted to talk about it. I remember last time. The girl
Girl
boss.
boss.
Yeah. I don't really have
Um,
that much of a
yeah,
say in that.
on Girl Boss. I know that Sophia Maruso is behind it.
I
Mhm.
know
And
she's a horrible girl boss. I know that.
really, okay, I didn't know that because I follow her on Instagram and she seems great, but I haven't really looked
I
into
think
her
that's
like
all a facade. I think that's all a
is
It
facade.
is a facade. Yeah.
I
I
think
actually
so.
don't
okay.
know much about her. I
Spill the
started looking
tea.
into the girl. The what?
Oh, spill the tea because I don't know
Oh,
much on Sophia.
I
yeah,
don't
I don't
really
know
know the
much
tea.
on her either.
I just know she's associated with the girl boss, like,
She coined it, I think.
title.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know it was there were some problematic things. I honestly I don't have the tea because I haven't like looked into it in a long time. But I remember
Mm.
when like that term first got coined, it was problematic because yeah, I don't know. It was problematic. I remember it was problematic. Let me look into it more. We can discuss further
Okay.
what I
Well, from what
find.
I saw, the term started with good intentions. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it started with, you know, we want women to be obviously like bosses at the office. Like, we want more like women leaders out there. And I think part of the girl boss movement was something like ban bossy. I don't know if like y'all remember that. Like
Mm-mm.
back in like 2014, there was like this movement that you know, we wanted to ban like the word bossy from like workplaces so that women and girls wouldn't feel like discouraged or,
Yeah.
you know, like inferior. And you could go on the website and like sign a pledge to like not say that to women or something like that. So it started out with good intentions, but then eventually it just grew more and more, and it became this very corporate thing that was again like just kind of like a facade, like yay women, but also like we're also a very exclusionary company, and when
Yeah.
it comes to women we're only really catering to like white women that are
Yeah.
often also kind of wealthy to begin with.
Yeah.
um, and the people who would call themselves like, oh, girl boss or something would not be treating their
Right.
women employees,
Yeah.
especially their like POC employees, right? So it's now, I guess, like before people would be more comfortable calling themselves like girl bosses because at least it had like a more positive connotation to it. But now I don't know if y'all have seen on TikTok like the girl boss memes, like gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. I don't
No,
know if anybody had.
exactly. And I think that's what was problematic. Like like I'm having like recollections now. I think that's what was problematic, is that the girl boss mentality meant very clicky, very exclusive, like pretty girls, like hot girls, like girls that like look like us, girls that, act like us type of thing, where it's like
Yeah.
it really wasn't that inclusive. It was exclusive, like you were saying. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess like now the anti-girl boss thing is just looking for more, you know, like we wanted more women in power, yes, but just having women in power is not going to solve everything if they're going to keep doing the same
Right.
things or even worse things that like the man typically in power are doing, it's kind of like the same thing, and it only positively affects these women. So yeah, I guess it's just, like we're kind of opting for a more like, I guess it's called what is that called, intersectional feminism, which
Yep,
is,
yep.
like we are focusing on kind of all kind of people, like not necessarily just women who are going to be bosses, like we want, people to be treated better in the workplace, regardless of their backgrounds, their ethnicity, race, or anything like that. And we want to prioritize them over, just like getting a specific type of women to power.
What was the BuzzFeed feminist that you were talking about? Like I forgot what we were talking about last time. You were talking about how like these like BuzzFeed feminists have like some radical ideas about what feminism really is. I think that kind of ties into this. I forgot what you were saying.
Oh, I don't know if it's like radical ideas. I mean, oh, so you were saying how I think it was a point like between like 2017 or 2016 or something that like feminism kind of became like a dirty word. Like a
Oh
lot of
yeah, yeah, yeah.
people, yeah, a lot of people were making like a lot of anti-feminist content or like making fun of feminists because of honestly BuzzFeed. I don't know if y'all would see like the BuzzFeed articles that would just be I guess tackling issues that should not be at the top
It's
priority
not
of the
really an issue.
feminist movement.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like painting with period blood and like man spreading and things like that. So
I mean, do
I
we
think
consider that feminism, ladies? Like
I
painting with our period blood? Like, do we like is that what we've come to as far as feminism? Like what?
Yeah, no, I think we've kind of like gotten back on track, like I guess like at least these past 2 years or so. But there was something going on in like 2015, 2016, 2017 where it was kind of like that. And like I care a lot more about like issues like grooming, like what we just discussed, workplace sexism, just kind of like actual like barriers that women have
Yeah.
to face rather than
Right.
like finding empowerment through painting with
Right.
period blood and that having be like the face front of the issue. Basically things that like would seem a concern to like I guess like privileged white women. Yeah, it's like that kind of feminism, like BuzzFeed feminism, is also kind of called to like white feminism because it doesn't really address like issues with like class or race
Yeah.
within that feminism.
It's not really what the things that they discuss aren't really issues. It's issues that they made an issue because they wanted to make it an issue, not because it's an
Yeah.
actual issue. Like, for instance, like remember, I think I sent you guys a video about this girl talking shit about this other girl for supporting this other girl by calling her a queen. Like she was supporting this other female creator a queen, supporting her content, but someone stitched it and saying, why do you need to call them a queen? Like that's so blah 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 blah. And it's like you have a problem with women supporting women. Like why? Who cares if like calling someone a queen is you're just saying like, you support them like they're a queen, right?
Yeah.
So she's just making like imaginary problems at that point. Yeah.
Like
And
I think the point was, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, no, it's fine.
I think the point is like, why are we talking down on other women for supporting other women instead of just supporting other women?
Exactly. And I think going back to like the BuzzFeed thing, I do remember them being kind of radical because I don't know what you guys think on this topic, but I remember once I think one of the BuzzFeed reporters or employees they said that the air conditioner was sexist or something like that
What?
because because the because the temperatures in the office they would make them very very cool, which means that men would be more tolerant to the coldness, but women wouldn't, just because we have like less muscle, I guess. So we have to suffer in the offices, that therefore making the AC sexist because they're accommodating the AC for men, but not for women. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like I have
Oh,
never ever
yeah.
thought about the
That
AC
is a
being sexist.
non-issue.
Like,
Yeah,
hold
exactly.
up.
Like, what is this? Like
Yeah.
first world problems? Like they didn't
Yeah.
put at the temperature you wanted it at, or
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So yeah, so I actually just read recently that like radical feminism, it's actually kind of like a different name. Like it sounds scary, but it's a different name for intersectional feminism. So that's like the feminism that, you know, like does deal with like class issues and like race issues. But I guess that is pretty much girl boss feminism or like BuzzFeed feminism or just like just strictly white feminism. So I guess like that's where the distinction comes. But yeah, that type of feminism, I think it does like, it has done a lot of damage because it did do like, it discredited a lot of the movement. It led to people being kind of like grifted into like kind of like the alt-right groups, because there were a lot of videos like on YouTube that were made making fun of like BuzzFeed feminism basically, and then that would lead to like the whole like alt-right pipeline, like, oh, we make fun of this so you like this other content that actually hates women, and like, you know, things like that.
No, I definitely agree, because I think I am starting to like recall all of this like BuzzFeed thing, because I remember at the time I thought, you know, if this is what feminism is, which is like insane nitpicking and like finding problems where there aren't really problems, then I'm not really like a feminist, and I don't really like align with that. And I do remember that, but I don't see that as much now, I think, with like social media and pop. But yeah,
I actually stopped calling myself a feminism for like a little bit, like within those years. But I guess it was like that was pretty much like the impact. They really tainted like the whole movement, but I'm glad that we're finally like back on track. We're like, wait, like what was going on?
And like I hated the fact that I had to like pretend I'm not a feminist, because I hated the negative connotation that came with that, the feminist title, right? Because people just like assumed you were a man hater, that you don't like it's just, it made zero sense to me for me to like associate with that title, because like it just wasn't, it didn't align with my values. And now I think like obviously we're clearly feminist, but I'm still traumatized by it. Like I still don't want to attach my name to it. Clearly we are though, you know, so
yeah, I guess like I just try and make the distinction, like I'm an intersectional feminist, like to kind of be like, I do not mess with this like BuzzFeed thing. I am going to prioritize things like race and class in terms of like in my feminism. It's not just, you know, like hashtag whatever, like girl boss, and like, you know, just like pretty pictures that don't do much except like virtual signal.
I think we're in like the woke culture. I don't know if that's better, because like there are some woke things that are just not really woke. It's just they're just being extra. That's kind of like the like radical feminist thing, like BuzzFeed thing. It's still happening now, but it's not as bad.
Right. And I think these like journalists would write these articles just to basically get the views or attention, I think.
Exactly.
And I think the same thing is happening with this term like chuggy. Let's
talk about that.
Oh my gosh.
Like no Gen Z, no Zoomer that I know would use that word or even come up with the term chuggy. I don't even know what it means.
Who came up with this word? I'll bet you it was a millennial. That like, it had to have been a millennial. Like, here, look at us bashing millennials talking about chuggy. I bet you it was a millennial that like got like salty and like wanted to make up a word to like start some controversy. I don't know. Chuggy just seems like
exactly like no Gen Z would have like thought about even like picking a fight with millennials, or I don't know. At least my brain doesn't work like that. Like
I think even like the word, I don't even know where it came from, because when I would see those things before, I would think, oh, that's pretty basic. But even then, like I just don't care anymore. I don't care about calling things basic. People can like whatever they want. Like we should not be putting like these labels to things. Like if I want right now, I can like go get my pumpkin spice latte and like my I don't know what else. I would be like and like, you know, and who cares? Like it doesn't affect anybody's lives. Like, you know, people are just living their lives. So I don't know. It's just like people just doing the most.
Very true. I think chuggy is a good place where we can leave off for this time. And then we can pick up next episode. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining in on the Girls Night conversation. This will be a monthly series. Maybe it'll be more often depending on, you know, how we feel and if we have time. But I think I think we covered a lot today, but I think next time we will come more prepared and like more structured. But this was more like an intro. So
Yeah.
but yeah. So thank you to my co-hosts Val and Daisy. Yeah, thank you for joining Girls Night. Bye.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, you guys don't actually have to leave.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Record.